Friends, in this episode, we're going to talk about what you need to do if you don't have a receipt notice after you filed for 765 for a work permit, work authorization. So stick around all the way to the end so you get all the tips. Friends, welcome to Green Card Guys TV. My name is John Ting. We represent clients in all 50 states of America, right here in Houston, Texas. Friends, I know you are very frustrated about the delays in the receipt notice. I know it's such a simple thing that the government should be able to figure out. As I predicted in previous videos, they've blamed it on the pandemic and not having enough people in the workforce with USCIS, and also the delays with the USPS, US Postal Service. Now, in this video, we want to share practical tips on what you can do and share with your employer or your HR, Human Resources Department, if they ask you, where is your work permit, your work authorization, or EAD? Now, the first thing you need to know is that when you timely file your application 765, then you have an automatic 180 days extension. This is, of course, more like a grace period because everyone knows it's going to take several months just for the application to process. Now, that is further delayed, of course, because USCIS has probably not even opened your package, and that's why you don't have the receipt notice. That is a likely scenario, so you need to keep that in mind. Now, it's only automatic for certain categories, and we have them listed right here. Now, showing proof of work authorization really depends on what type of status you have. Now, if you're only waiting for the work permit and you're not a resident, that will be very difficult, right? And we're going to show you on the I-9 instructions exactly what you can do. All right, friends, so we're right here on the I-9 instructions, employment eligibility verification. So if you don't have any status and you only have a work permit, which is not status, by the way, it's just allowing you to work during the time period. Whether you have F1 and you're able to work part-time, or you have OPT or STEM OPT, you would have a work permit. But also in the situation, if you have DACA, or you are an asylum seeker, you can have a work permit, or you have a pending I-485 case, you can also apply for a work permit in the very beginning of the case. You don't have to wait to apply. Now here on the I-9, it says here that you need to provide certain documents. Now you can provide documents from 3 different lists. If you don't have it, the main one is list A. You only need to provide 1 document from list A, or if you don't have anything from list A, you can provide something from a combination of 1 from list B, or 1 thing and also 1 thing from list C. Now, I'm sharing this with you because some employers or some people in the Human Resources Department might specifically ask you for a document, and they're not allowed to do that. That would be discrimination. So they have a delicate situation where they can't ask you for specific proof, but at the same time, they have to make sure you have work authorization. So it's a really fine line for them within the law. So to make everyone's job easier, I would recommend following this list, okay? And so, of course, if you are not a citizen, you wouldn't have a US passport or card. And if not a resident, you wouldn't have this one, okay? You wouldn't have either of these. But keep in mind, so if you don't have anything from list A, you scroll down, take a look at list B, and see what you can provide. Maybe if you have DACA, you've gone to school, or you're F1, you have a school ID with a photograph, you can provide that. Or if you have, you're renewing your work permit, then you would already have a driver license, so you can provide that. So you can also scroll down here to list C. If you're providing something from list B, you have to provide at least 1 more thing from list C. And so again, if you have a pending 485 case, or you've been approved before, you would also have a Social Security number. So there are ways around it without having to provide specifically the work permit. In worst case scenario, if you don't have the receipt notice at all, or any of these documents, provide the delivery confirmation of your application, your 765 application. And so at least it shows some kind of proof to your employer or HR that you did attempt to file it timely. And hopefully they shouldn't have to ask any more information. Usually what we do for our clients is we provide a courtesy letter to share with them to explain the situation so the employer is fully aware of what's going on with USCIS and the US Post Office. Because employers typically don't know what's going on with the everyday situation with U.S. immigration agencies. Now, friends, if you have not received your receipt notice yet, don't go and tell your employer or HR, oh, I need to renew my work permit, or I'm waiting for my work permit to be renewed. Don't tell them, okay? There's no reason to tell them. I know a lot of y'all are very truthful in that way, and that's good. It's always good to be truthful. That's very important. But if your HR or your company is not asking you about it, you don't need to be proactive to share that directly with them. Now, if you are a conditional resident and your card expired, or you've already filed your 751 application to remove those conditions, and of course that receipt notice has been delayed as well, this does not mean that you have to fill out an I-9 form again. You are a resident. Even though it's a conditional resident, you are still a resident. Your status has not been revoked until a judge in immigration court has actually revoked it by court order. So even though your card is expired, you still have conditional resident status. And again, that is also extended for 18 months automatically, which you wouldn't have proof of it because you don't have the receipt notice. The 18 months extension would be stated exactly on the receipt notice. Now, if you are currently a lawful permanent resident and you filed an I-90 form to renew it because that expired, and you also don't have the receipt notice, then you want to provide them delivery confirmation of your package that you mailed to the government. So it's at least something. And also there's other ways around it. But at the same time, you don't need to fill out the I-9 form again unless you're getting a new job. So my pro tip is don't share it with your employer or HR unless they ask you specifically. Friends, if you're interested to watch our video about STEM OPT, it's in the next video. Until next time, please continue wearing your mask. Take care.